Hey, Yinning at Life gang, it's Kimberley Roberts of the SolefulYin brand. I'm here to dish out all things about traditional Chinese medicine, Yin Yoga, reflexology, and of course, I'm here to disrupt your mind. So, thanks so much for pressing play on today's episode. Let's do this. Have you ever desired for yourself a space where you just know you can tap into at any moment, any time to bring you back home to yourself? A place where you can create inner awareness without judgment, without expectations, even without the attachment of wondering, am I going to fail? Am I good enough? A place where you can truly connect your body and your mind together and not as separate. If the answer to any of that is yes, then I invite you in to the SolefulYin app, the experience membership, your opportunity to come back home to you, to discover and become the person that you were truly meant to be. You can join in on a monthly basis or annual basis. You can cancel anytime. You get unlimited access to all video content, practices ranging from anywhere from 5 minutes up to 60 minutes, breathwork practices, meditations, acupressure, even reflexology techniques, content that will help you create and cultivate emotional intelligence and resilience, audio practices that you can just tune into and drop into in any moment with a set of earbuds in. This is an experience in becoming who you are meant to be, not about judging who you are or even who you desire to be. So come and join us if it aligns. All the information is in the show notes. Well, hello there. I am so glad to be here today. Let me tell you, have I got an episode for you? I want to share an experience that I had over the past week, a personal story of mine about fear and how Yin Yoga really helped me not just process and release it, but the most important part was the acknowledgement of the fear. And this fear, get this fear dates back to 9.5 years ago. 9.5 years ago. Even actually probably closer to, I want to say maybe even closer to 10 years. And I came full circle around this, and it blew my mind. When you start to do this deep work, this deep mindset work, stuff's going to come up inevitably. Things from your past, experiences that you had. Some of it will come up quicker, some of it will come out later. And for me, like, this is a personal story about an experience that I want to share that I know at some point in your own journey is going to serve you at the highest level possible. So here's what happened. Over the weekend, the past weekend, I decided to basically lock myself in my condo with my thoughts, with a journal, with pen, and contemplate, why am I not where I desire to be at this point in the journey? Like, what's stopping me? What's holding me back? And I'll tell you at first, just like everybody else, I didn't want to do this. I was resistant. I also thought, what's the point? I don't like to write. I don't know. I was like, ugh. But then there was a part of me that was saying inside, it was literally screaming at me, craving, going, sit down and do this work. Like, there was a part of me that was actually starting to get excited about doing the work. I was like, oh, I wonder what's going to come up. I wonder how my mind's going to react. Huh. Interesting. Never really had that happen before. So I will tell you that for me, the biggest challenge that I've been experiencing since moving out and living on my own has been the challenge of believing and trusting that I'm financially supported by the universe. So I believe in the universe. I know there's a higher power out there, whatever you want to call it, God, source, angel, spirit, divine, whatever. It's out there. I know that. I also know that I am not so special of a human being that the laws of the universe do not apply to me. Like, I realize I'm not that special. Nobody is. The laws of the universe govern over everybody, regardless of who you are. You're not that special at all. None of us are. So I was like, why is it that I don't trust and believe that the universe is supporting me financially, but yet clearly I'm here. Obviously I'm being supported. Obviously I make money. So it wasn't that. That wasn't actually the core belief. The core belief actually was, after I sat down and journaled about it and thought about it and contemplated about it and meditated on it and got into my yin practice, and that's where really things started to like brew and come up to the surface. And that's what I want to talk about today is Yin Yoga and what it taught me about fear. Because I also discovered another layer to fear that I wasn't thinking was fear, but it really was. And that's doubt. But we'll get to that. So I was in my yin practice and I'm like, okay, obviously I know how money works. Money is energy. It just responds to my energy. I get it. So I'm like, obviously there's enough energy on my side that I'm bringing in money. So I'm like, that's not the issue. The issue is it's the amount of money that I desire. That's the core thing. Because you see, if I go back to like basically 10 years ago, when I left my abusive marriage and he was the main provider at that time. He wasn't always the main provider. In fact, at one point I was the main provider. I was the one that was making, well over 6 figures a year. I was making well more money than he was. But after I transitioned out of the corporate world and into what I really love doing, teaching Yin Yoga, doing reflexology, and now later on, mindset work, I realized I wasn't making anywhere near the amount of money that I was before. And honestly, when I did my yoga training, they even told us in our yoga training, if you think you're going to make a lot of money doing this, you're going to be disappointed. You're either going to have another side job, or you're going to have to be teaching like 25, 30, 40 classes a week. So the seed of doubt on that was planted. Like that was well over like 25 years ago, because I've been teaching like, 25 years. So it was the amount of money that I desire to make. And even when I did my reflexology training, back when I did reflexology training, it still wasn't very mainstream, especially here in Ottawa, Canada. A lot of people didn't know what it was. A lot of people just thought it was nothing more than a foot massage. And, why am I going to pay X amount of dollars for a foot massage? I can just go and get a pedicure and at least my toes will look pretty. So in the beginning, the first probably 5 years of doing reflexology, a lot of it was educating people on the benefit of reflexology for your body and your mind and your life, not just your feet. So there was another seed of doubt planted back then on my end, that it was like, well, and I was comparing it a lot to massage therapy. And so I planted a lot of seeds of doubt there. So of course, knowing what I know now, not, not knowing what I didn't know back then, but what I know now, I can see in hindsight that I created the financial reality in my business, in both of my businesses, in my Yin Yoga business and in my reflexology business. So I had to sit there and dissect why can't I make what I want to make? Why can't I make $1 million a year doing what I love? Why not? I have a thriving reflexology business. I have I have most months I'm waitlisted. People buy packages all the time. My clientele are repeat. So I was able to basically like wipe that out, that doubt. But then I started to look at the online businesses that I have. So, my mindset business, which is very new, it's only like a couple of months old. So there's still like a lot of learning curve in there. And I'll be honest with you, even the confidence level isn't as high because this is still kind of new. It's exciting and I love it. And I know I have so much value to share with people, especially when I start tying in, Yin Yoga with it. It blows people's minds. But then I looked at my online Yin Yoga app. Like it's steadily, becoming the number one Yin Yoga and well-being app that's being downloaded. And I started to think like, how many people do I want to serve on my app? Like it's thousands. And at a core belief, there was a part of me that was thinking, well, how? How are you going to make that happen? And then I realized, well, the how isn't actually my job. That's the universe. But you see, this is where the trust and the belief comes back in. If you don't trust and believe in something, not only is it that the universe is going to match you on that, but as an example, when I doubted and believed that people would buy into reflexology, then I was putting out that energy of I doubt and believe that people will buy into it, which means it's not just that the universe will doubt and buy into that too, because it just matches my vibration. It's that people will doubt and believe in it. For me, that was the huge energetic piece and the light bulb moment of like, okay, I get it. I get that I match, my vibe matches, what I put out is what I get back from the universe. But when I really thought about it, when I was in my yin practice on the weekend, it was like, it's not just the universe, it's the people out there. And of course, if I don't buy in and trust that people want what I'm offering, then is the financial aspect, is the financial byproduct, because money is a byproduct of who we become, who we are, then the byproduct isn't going to be there. So this is why this mindset work is so important, because anything that you desire to have in your life, whether it's money, a certain health goal, a certain career status, a relationship, like all of that are byproducts of who you are. And this journey is about becoming and discovering who you are, who you're meant to be in this world. And this is why we say, like we step into these periods of there's a void, because we've moved from the person that we used to be, but we're not where we desire to be. So we're kind of in the middle. It's like a sandwich that you haven't put the middle section, the best part in yet, right? That's all the action, the stuff that you have to do. But part of the stuff that we have to do is we've got to contemplate, and we got to look at it and not be afraid to look at it. See, for me, not only was there doubt and resistance to doing the work this past weekend, there was also some fear of like, what kind of answers am I going to get? Am I ready for those answers? How am I going to navigate the answers I get? All of which are unknown, which is basically a void, right? We don't have the answers. So what does our ego mind want to do in that moment? Throw us back to who we used to be, because that's what's known and that's what's comfortable. So it's like, we take another step forward, but then we take like 3 or 4 steps back. And we're just constantly going forwards and back and forwards and back. We're never gaining the momentum to keep going. So when I realized on the weekend that obviously there was fear, like, okay, well, let's do some yin for, I know, the kidney meridian channel, because in Chinese medicine, our kidneys, the kidney organ system, is what holds the energy of fear. Now, I want to say that even though that is the primary organ where we hold that emotion, it doesn't mean that your body can't be holding it somewhere else. So here is where I had the absolute most profound moment. And I thought to myself, what if I'm not feeling the fear in my kidney area? What if I'm not feeling it there? Now, knowing my background is very heavy in traditional Chinese medicine, and understanding that our organ systems hold emotions, specific ones, I decided to challenge that a little bit. I'm like, well, I know it's true, but is it absolutely 100% the place in my body where I hold fear? And what was my answer? I don't know. Because here's the thing. 10 years ago, when I decided to leave the marriage and I went to find somewhere to live, and I was sitting in a leasing office of a building, and I was signing a lease that I had no idea where the money was going to come from, how I was going to pay for it. The fear crippled over my body. And where did I feel the fear? In my stomach. I didn't feel it in my back where my kidneys are. I felt it in my stomach, in the pit of my stomach. You know, that queasy, nervous feeling that's not the good kind of butterflies nervous feeling? It was that. And in my yin practice on the weekend, something didn't happen. So I asked the question, right? Like, what if fear is not held in my kidneys or my kidney organ system, where, along the meridian channel? Maybe it's somewhere else. So I just entertained that thought. And then I let it go. Kept on with my practice, finished my practice. And then something happened. And this was so recent. It was actually last night. I was lying in bed and I was thinking about doubt and resistance because I had just taught my online live stream yin class. And the focus of our class was about letting go of resistance, which we hold in the liver organ system, right? That inability to go with the flow of life, right? And trust and believe. So, I do this work as much as I preach it to my students, I do it. So as I was laying there in bed, I started to think about doubt and resistance. And I was like, we only ever operate from one of two energies, either fear or love. Now, maybe for some of you, this next piece is going to seem like a no-brainer, but for me, it was game-changing. And I always believe that we receive what we need from the universe in the divine aligned timing. So I thought, fear. When I think of fear, I think of the literal fear. Like when my now late husband attempted to end my life. That to me is fear. When I was moving out of my house and moving into the condo that I live in right now, not knowing how am I going to support myself, that to me was fear. It wasn't even worry. It wasn't even doubt. It was downright fear. Like I was thinking to myself as I sat in my car after signing those lease papers, and I went, how am I going to do this? How am I going to support myself? And it wasn't even at that level. It was even deeper. I was saying to myself, how am I going to make enough money to support myself? I'm trying to do the math in my head of where I was at that point in my career. And I was like, I could work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 30 days in a month, and I still wouldn't make enough money. I'm like, I was going into very much my ego logical mind and going, this doesn't make any sense. It's not even financially possible. So that to me was fear. I'm going to end up homeless. But then I thought about doubt and worry and resistance again. And I was like, but those are forms of fear. At the end of the day, doubting something, worrying about something, resisting something, those are all compound emotions of fear. So at the end of the day, it's fear. That's certainly not love. I'm certainly not vibrating out at a love level. I'm vibrating at a fear level. And I started to look in hindsight over the past 9.5 years that I've been here. And I realized I had planted so many seeds of doubt, still tracking back to the day where I was signing my lease papers and not knowing what was going to happen. So as I laid there last night, I said to myself, all right, I acknowledge the fear. I didn't go into all the compound emotions of doubt, disappointment, worry. It was just, all right, universe, I acknowledge I was scared. I'm scared. I have to feel this emotion. And something unexpected happened. As I was laying there, all of a sudden, it was subtle. It was really subtle, but thank God I was tuned and plugged in and, aware of my body. I started to feel the queasiness in my stomach that I felt 10 years ago. It wasn't as strong, but it was there. And I thought, oh my God, it's finally coming up. That fear from 10 years ago is finally coming up now. And I said to myself, I'm okay. I'm okay. Okay, I acknowledge that fear. I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. And I put my hands over my belly where I could feel the queasiness. And I just kept saying, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. And before I knew it, the feeling in my body was gone. And I can't explain it, but it was just, I felt free. And then I asked myself, well, what do I want? What do I believe? And what do I trust now? And I was like, I trust and believe in the universe to provide for me financially in all the ways, in all ways. It was simple. It was as simple as that. There was no big, massive, meltdown or breakdown, although I'm not saying that that can't happen. But for me, it felt like a peaceful release. Now, when I was in my yin practice on the weekend, and I was focusing on the fact that maybe fear isn't where I expect it to be in my body, there was a part of me, I'm not going to lie here, there was a part of me that was hoping that I would pick it up wherever the fear was. I could feel it in my body and I would let it go then. But here's the thing. I mean, the release doesn't always happen when you want it to. I mean, I've had many, many, many releases in my practice, either in a pose or in rebound between poses or just after the practice. But this came, a couple of 3 days later. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that I released it, let it go. And now I'm free to focus on what I desire. I'm free to take the next step in the void. Your mind is always going to make it worse than you think that's actually going to happen. Your mind is always going to make more out of it. Always. But I'll tell you that my yin practice is a constant reminder and affirmer for me, and even an activator for me, that its power is going to help me let go of whatever I'm holding on to. And if it's worry, and I know that worry is is the spleen energy, maybe it isn't where I hold it. I mean, I do know I hold worry in my spleen because I have felt it. But I want to open you up to the possibility that maybe even though your organs have primary emotions. And if you want to know more about that, go to my episode on the link between your organs, your emotions, and your meridians, because it was a #1 rated podcast episode. And I dove deep into the explanation between our organs, which emotions we hold in them, and which meridian channel is involved. It's a really, really great episode. There's also an ebook that I created that talks and goes deep into that as well. You can download that. I'll put it all in the show notes for you. I'll link the episode, and then I'll also link the handbook if you want to grab the handbook there. But in this journey in your life, I want to remind you that although we have certain expectations of how we are going to process and release emotions and move to the next step in our journey, it doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to roll. And quite frankly, the universe often has a way better plan for us than we can possibly even imagine. And if you just be open to that, so trusting that. And I will tell you that it has taken me 10 years to release this. It's a long time. I don't have any regrets. None. I'm okay with it. I've made peace with it because this is the journey. I mean, we're not here to be perfect. We're here to be human. We're here to carry out our soul's desires while navigating the human experience, the human body, and living in it. And this is why, for me, Yin Yoga, embodying these practices for me is so much more than just that physical stretch. Like, for me, it's a way for me to create awareness. It's a way for me to activate awareness of my thoughts, of my feelings, of my emotions, where I'm holding them in my body. Like, if you can tap into the power that this practice can be so much more than just a physical stretch, it's incredible the kind of extraordinary Delulu life or delusional life that you're going to be able to create for yourself if you can tap into that energy of believing and trusting in that. So I am so grateful that I locked myself in for the weekend and did that deep dive on paper, but also on my mat. And now, like, I feel free. Like, I'm free, which means now I can focus on being in the energy of love, not being in the energy of fear where my ego mind lives. And from the energy of love, well, you know that expression, the world is your oyster? Well, it is. You can create anything that you want when you're in that energy, because you're always an energetic match. And if you struggle, this is one piece that I want to say. If you struggle with the fact that there is another power out there that is supporting you, okay? So source, universe, spirit, angel, whatever. And the disconnect is like understanding that your energy, the universe is just going to match back to you. I want you to look at it from this way. Whatever it is that you want to attract, especially if you're somebody who has a business, or if like, say you're in a job and you want a raise, you want a promotion, you want to move to the next level. If you don't believe that you can do it, if you don't believe you're worthy of it, well, then it's not just that the universe is going to not believe as well, but whoever your boss is or whoever the people are that make the decision about the hiring, they're going to pick up on that energy too. They're going to pick up on the energy of like, oh, she doubts that she's capable of that job or getting it. So there's the energetic match. If you're running a business and you want to create something, then if you're doubting that people are going to buy into it, then guess what? People are going to doubt that they should buy into it. Like, whatever you want out there, you've got to put out the energy to attract it. Because it's, there's often other components, the gathering of components that have to happen in order for things to, come into your physical form. And sometimes those components involve other people. In fact, a lot of the times they involve other people. So start to look at it that way, start to frame it that way. And use the yin practice, use breath work, use meditation, use all of these modalities as your daily tools to check in and to make sure that you are energetically aligned with what it is that you desire to create. And the moment you realize that you are not in energetic alignment, if you're feeling doubtful, if you're feeling worried, if you're feeling frustrated, you know right there you're actually in an energy of fear. And you don't want to compound that, because you'll only create more doubt, more worry, more frustration, more irritation. So acknowledge it for what it is, if that's what it is at the moment. Okay, I'm scared. And ask yourself, is that what I want? Do I want to be scared? Nope. Okay, what do I want? I want to be happy. Okay, what makes me happy? Focus on that, because then you move yourself up the emotional scale. And if you're struggling, get on your mat and get in your practice, or sit there and do breath work or meditation, and keep focusing on shifting your energy up instead of down. This is the work. And this is the work that you do or can do in Yin Yoga if you choose to do it. If you choose to buy in that what you can get out of the practice is more than just a physical stretch. For me, this past weekend, Yin Yoga taught me something about fear that I, for many years, was not open to, but finally was. And I truly believe that the reason why I was able to release the fear was because I chose to be open to, maybe it's not just in my kidney organ system that I hold fear. Maybe it's somewhere else. And it was, well, in that case, the fear I was holding on to, the fear of not being able to make enough money to support myself, was being held in my stomach. And when I released that, I cleared it out. Now I'm free. Now I'm free. This is the work. So thank you so much once again for pressing play on this episode. I am so grateful to be able to come here every week and to speak about the things that are on my heart that help serve you at the highest level possible, not just in your body and in your mind, but in the creating and guiding you towards that extraordinarily Delulu life that you are more than worthy of having. So I'll see you next week.